Welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Inside Track. Fabulous guest with us, Liam Thompson. How are you?
I'm not too bad actually. It's chilly and sunny outside here in the sunny north. So yeah, good.
I'm with you in the north. It's better than the rain and the horrible cold. So my apologies because obviously we did film this originally probably 2 weeks ago, Liam, and I forgot to press record. So my error. So hopefully we'll have the same wisdom as last time. But yeah, finally we're there now. Always the best place to start is some people will know you, some people won't. So it's obviously a good place to give everyone a bit of a background as to who Liam is, where you come from.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Liam Thompson. I am the co-founder of Accelerate Website Agency. We're a website and marketing agency for mostly for boutique gyms. We build lead generating websites, and we currently look after around about 200 websites for fitness businesses
Wow.
in the UK, Ireland, and worldwide.
That's pretty extensive amount of people for the websites
Yeah.
and in terms of marketing, because obviously things have changed probably quite rapidly over the last the sort of 5 years, particularly even more so now with AI. How important do you think it is in terms of websites now in comparison to what they were before?
I think they've always been important. It's not. It's not that they've lost the importance. The biggest challenge, I guess, is that people don't value them as much as they used to because of social media. It's easy to send DMs and get people to interact with you online. However, the big challenge with that is that you don't own it. You are behest to the gods of Meta or TikTok or whatever social media platform you're using, and if you get your account banned, you've lost everything. Whereas when it comes to your website, you have the ability to own your marketing and build your business on your own land, I guess.
And I guess the great thing is Google is still the biggest used search engine, and people do still search locally for. I mean, even with ChatGPT now, you can search and it will give you the particular companies. So a website is probably even more important than your Facebook page, and most people will even go Facebook. Yeah, I like the look of that, and they'll still go to your website to have a look at who you are for to making sure you're real and you're not some fraud.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Google is so underrated as a traffic source, especially if you're already doing other types of marketing. The
Absolutely.
truth is that we are in a as a fitness industry, it's maturing. People are becoming less trusting and they know exactly what they're looking for. So what we see across the board is even for people who are running meta ads or Facebook or Instagram ads, people will go to Google and search the business name just to make sure that it's a legitimate company. And if you have a Google My Business profile, which is up to date with reviews and your opening hours and all the things that Google asks you to provide, people are then gonna have a higher level of trust. And I guess that's the key is the word trust. If they see you on social media and then they see you on Google and they also see that you have a website, that's going to just add to the trust factor.
Oh, absolutely, and that probably comes on not nicely to sort of social trust. I mean, how important are those reviews, whether that be on Google, whether it be on Facebook, whatever it is? How important is? Because I know you guys use them quite significantly
Yeah,
on your high performing websites.
I think social proof as we call it as marketers uh, is vital because right. Let me just take a step back. In the health and fitness industry, we're in the business of transformation,
Yeah,
not selling classes or sessions or gym equipment. Ultimately, every single person who walks through our facility's door wants to undergo some sort of transformation. If you can show that person people just like them who have gotten the transformation results that they're looking for, it's just going to amplify those trust signals. It's just going to make it easier to get to the sale. That's why it's important. It's allowing people to see that this isn't a risk for them. They can
Yeah.
feel safe coming to work with your health and fitness business because they can see other people who are just like them, who have the same struggles as them, who are as skeptical as they are about the results, who might have tried other things in the past that don't work, who then can see that these other people have gotten results that have changed their lives. And if you can do that consistently, rather than just asking them to come and buy sessions or classes or whatever, your results will exponentially increase.
Yeah, 100%. And do you find when you guys are building the sites that the sort of static words of a testimonial work really well, or is it the video stuff that tends to work better?
It's a mix. There isn't there's a bit of a myth in marketing that there's a magic email or a magic headline or there's a one thing that you can send out that's going to get you amazing results. But the truth is you have to do everything.
Yeah,
Has to for example, let me use this as an example. If we were to gather a case study for a client or from a client, we would initially do it on video. That would be a long form testimonial that we would ask specific questions. We can then start to break that down into could be a case study blog post on the website. It could then be snippets for social media, snippets for email. We turn that into an email that we can send to their list. We can then send that email list traffic back to the case study. That case study will have a call to action in it. So it could be arrange a call, get more info, whatever that call to action would depend what the business is. And then we'll take another snippet and we'll put that on the homepage of the website and strategically in other pages. And that snippet will be a headline and a short paragraph and then a little description of the person because people want to know that it's people getting the results. And then the other thing that we'll do is we'll then take that snippet and we'll turn it into a short Google testimonial. We'll send it back to the client and say, this is what you said in your interview. Would you mind posting this on Google as a testimonial? Now, what you get from that is, Google review. What you get is what we call a come towards review. It's a
right.
review that will move people towards you rather than the generic reviews that you get. So this is a challenge for you if you're listening to this right now. Go onto your Google My Business profile. Easiest way to find it is just type your business name into Google and look at your reviews. If you're just blindly asking people for reviews, what you're going to get is answers like this. These guys are amazing. This gym is great. The sessions are so much fun. And the only these are nice reviews from people because people want to help your business. Your clients
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
help you move forward, but they don't know what to say. And this is the only thing that they know what to say. So what we recommend is prompt them, ask them the right questions. And it goes something like this. What were you looking for when you found us? How long have you been working with us? What were you skeptical about? What results have you gotten since you've been working with us? How has that improved your life positively? And what would you say to someone who's thinking about getting started? You put all those together and you get a powerful testimonial that you can repurpose on all these platforms that we've already spoken about.
I think the great thing about reviews or testimonials, however you want to look at them, is the fact that you get a real person. Because I'm a big believer that a lot of our marketing in our industry is super fit people. Look at the abs. Look how good I look, but they never see anyone that's like them. And I think that's the powerful thing about a review because you see the mum, the dad who's not been able to train for 5 years for whatever reason, someone who's recovering from injury, and you go, that's me. That's me. And whereas if you see a lot of the marketing, it's super fit people on these, and yes, they're aspirational and everything, but they're not normal people, and that scares a lot of people off, especially if you've been out of training for a long while, or you're overweight and you're feeling a little bit nervous about joining a
Mm.
gym. What you want is to someone go, I felt like this. This is how they made me feel, and these are the results I got, and this is how it changed my life. And absolutely, suddenly you go, oh, I feel like them. They could make me feel like that. So I'm going to inquire, and that's what you're
Amazing,
looking
yeah.
to do.
We find, I think there's a different, I think if you look at how the industry is, I think if you look at more of the commercial gyms tend to use more of the models, fit models, whereas the independents and the smaller boutique gyms, I think they're a little bit ahead of the game when it comes to their marketing, probably because they have smaller marketing budgets and they have to try and do what works best for them. But what we find is the best pictures and images to use on your marketing is the clients that you want to try and bring into your business. They want to see that someone is working out or exercising and having fun.
Yeah.
That's it. And as you said, they can be intimidated by really fit people, especially if they haven't exercised in a while. And if I can just go back a little bit, you use the word training if they haven't trained for a while. I don't think that that's a public word. I think that's an industry word. And it's
Right.
really, really important that as an industry, we learn to speak client and we learn to use the language that our clients are using day to day. They're not thinking about training sessions. They're thinking about exercising or workouts
Point.
or moving more. And we have to start to learn to get that language into our marketing and onto our websites and into our social media posts.
Absolutely. I mean, the amount of times we do use acronyms, or we use and you sort of expect. I mean, you see PTs do it all the time, and they come in there and they bombard someone with language, and the poor person's just like that. Well, what does it do? I don't. You know what I mean? They're going about what muscles and how the movement works, and just like. Don't understand anything, just nod, yeah, 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 and they don't come out any wiser from it. Where if you just
Yeah,
dumbing the language down is probably the wrong way to say it, but if you just change the language so that the client understood what you were doing,
yeah,
it's a bit like I work with a trainer who's very much of the belief that you know how some will go, like the squat is done exactly like this. This is how you got to have your. When he's like, well, basically, most people aren't training or lifting at such a weight that they need those perfect angles. So just
yeah,
let them do the squat. They're not going to hurt themselves, but they're going to enjoy it. If you're correcting every single movement,
yeah,
they're not going to enjoy it. And the same applies with the sort of language. If you're using language that only we really understand and you're confusing them, they're not really going to enjoy it because they're going to walk away and go, "Oh, I'm a bit stupid.
yeah.
Why don't I know that?"
So let's just talk about, if it's okay, let's talk about what are the common words that we hear in the industry that the general public don't know what they are. The big one for me is strength and conditioning. No one knows what that is outside the fitness industry. So if you're trying to convince someone that they need 3 strength and conditioning classes per week to get the results that they want, they're going to switch off because they don't understand what that is.
It's
Everything
very
that we sell has to be, it has to be packaged into, let me think of the right word. It has to be packaged into the language that they want, and also not just that, also the goals that they want. This is why productizing what you do is one of the most powerful things you can do in your fitness business, because personal training, gym memberships, fitness classes, they are essentially commodities. And
yeah.
when you have and as the industry grows, and it's growing, a lot of this is now becoming commoditized. Especially people use the term small group personal training, which maybe 4 or 5 years ago probably was an industry word, but it's becoming more mainstream now. But when you try to sell these, it means that people can compare prices. They can
Yeah,
go
yeah.
to, so classes is the big one that we talk to our clients about. When they come to me and they say, "Well, I'm charging £200 per month," and they get 3 classes a week, or they get unlimited classes, and my answer will be, well, they can go to the local Pure Gym and get £25 a month for unlimited classes. Why should they then pay you 200?
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
as a business, you have to answer that, because otherwise you've commoditized what it is you do, and you can change the language. Some of these small group personal training businesses will say classes, but just by changing the language, you can up the value. They're not classes, they're coaching sessions,
Well, it's
they're
really
personal
interesting
training
because
sessions.
I work with some clubs, and when we go to launch the small group training, they'll say, "What's the difference between a fitness class and small group PT?" And you can see it from a member's point of view, going, actually, I'm attending a class, but I could also attend circuits, or I could
Yeah,
attend your strength and conditioning class, whatever it is. That's a class, and that's part of my membership. Now you want me to pay an extra 150, £200 a month for the small group training.
yeah,
What's the difference? And you're right. The language in itself can
yeah,
um, can allow you to differentiate between the two. And there is a big difference, and it is coaching. It's not. It's just not one-to-one coaching. It's in small groups, and
yeah,
but if you start putting classes behind it, they are just going to link it to your standard studio class, which
yeah,
are effective in their own right. But it is a different product completely. And I can imagine you work with a lot of those sort of small group training clubs, so you've probably got used to the language now in that. I remember back in the day, if you said personal training, instantly used to make people think boot camp. I mean, some soldier out there
yeah,
screaming at you. And it took the industry a while to get over that, because on the TV they used to see the boot camps and stuff like that. The
yeah,
fat camps, and it used to be some ex squaddy screaming at someone, chasing them up a hill, and
yeah,
that's what they saw as PT, because
yeah.
PT was very much an army mentality, as the way the public saw it. So when you put personal training, they were like, "Whoa," or PT. That was what they saw, and it took a long time for that to sort of work its way out of the industry.
I don't see as many of them as there used to be. I don't know if the industry's changed, but if you go back to about maybe go back about 10 years ago, there were a lot of boot camps in the UK.
Yeah, yeah, there was, yeah.
I actually had one of them myself, but I was very careful not to call it a boot camp. I called mine a fit camp, and it was a boot camp model, and I was charging at the time £147 per month
Wow.
for what is essentially large group personal training, classes of 20, and they got 3 sessions a week. Now, the reason I was able to charge that when there were pay-as-you-go boot camps charging £2 or £3 per session at the time was because I was selling the result. I guaranteed my clients at the time that if they came and worked with me, they would drop a dress size in their first 28 days, and within 12 weeks, they would drop 2 dress sizes. That's what I was selling. It was called the 2 and 12 program.
I
And this,
always, I,
yeah,
oh, go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, this is what I mean by not commoditizing what it is you do, and packaging up and productizing what it is you do, so that they can't then go and compare it to the boot camp or the gym down the road.
Yeah.
And the other thing, my clients at the time, they used to sit. I don't know if you remember, was it Voucher?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you could buy like packages of unlimited boot camp sessions for like £7 or whatever it was. My clients used to send these to me to show me what other people were doing. And they didn't leave. They were like, we love it here, we're getting results. That's ultimately what they want.
I mean, what are your thoughts on guaranteeing results for clients in terms of having that on the marketing? Because I think in my experience, very few people will ever ask for their money back. But also, one, it forces the trainer or the club to get results. So
Yeah.
you're not lazy. Um, but also, it gives a real powerful message to that person. If you're paying £200 a month for something and you've got your goals, you want to know you're going to achieve them. And I
Yeah.
think it's a real powerful statement if a club's willing to stand behind and go, we'll give you money back. We'll guarantee it. There's no challenge. Now, in 25 years, I try and encourage clubs to do it when they do transformations and stuff like that. I think we've probably had one refund in that whole time because you set the parameters. I mean, if they don't show up, they don't get their money back. They've got
Yeah.
to attend. If they're not putting the effort in or they're not listening, you know what I mean? They don't get the money. So you can put guidelines behind what you'll refund on and whatever, but the power behind a guarantee is huge.
Absolutely. I think I obviously had the guarantee when I was doing it. I had one request for a guarantee across all of that time, and I'd encourage personal trainers and small group PTs and transformation sessions to do that because it removes the risk. It
Yeah,
removes the risk for the client, and and it also allows you as a business to sell that transformation more confidently because you can say, listen, do you come and do 3 sessions a week, follow the nutrition plan, get to bed regularly, drink 2 liters of water a day? We guarantee that you will get these results. People aren't going to ask for a refund because most people will, if they're doing the work, will get the results. We know that.
absolutely.
That's standard across the industry. If they don't do the work, they're not going to ask for a refund.
Well, they'll know in their own mind. I think the
Yeah,
key with it is you make sure you test at the start and you test throughout so that you've got the results as proof.
yeah,
Because a lot of results aren't visible, especially if it's in a 4 or 6 week program. That initial one,
yeah,
you're not necessarily going to see huge results. A lot of them will just be improved sleep and those sorts of
yeah,
things. Whereas the big weight losses and stuff start to come after, it's a long term thing. But I think, but I think clubs should do it as well. But I think the reason clubs, just for normal gym membership, but I think
yeah,
the challenge is a lot of them don't have an onboarding process, don't don't engage with their members effectively, don't do any testing at the start so they know what the start results are to prove the
yeah,
results. And so because they don't have that, they're almost allowing people just to go do their own thing. So if they had a guarantee in there, this person comes back 2 months later and goes, I didn't get any results. You've got no way of justifying it. So I think if normal gym wants to do it, it doesn't, like I say, it isn't set just for small group training and personal trainers, but you've got to have the right processes in place to make sure you're looking after your members.
yeah.
But there's no reason why a normal gym can't do it. But you just got to make sure your service delivery is effective. Um,
I think if gyms were, I think if the commercial gyms were doing this, they'd increase their retention.
oh, hugely! It would force the teams to deliver on what they promise. So when they come in,
Yeah,
you're going to get a program. We're going to look after you in 5 weeks' time, 6 weeks' time. We're going to get you back in. We're going to do. But none of them ever do it. They might do the first induction. There's no communications that go out, whether that be automated or in person
mm,
communications. They only speak to the members that speak to them quite often in most clubs, and they certainly don't track. I mean, you go into most clubs, they couldn't track whether a member is achieving their goal or not. They
yeah,
might be able to do it with a small number, whether that's the PT clients or a small number that engage with them. But I think as an industry, we're quite poor on that. But I think if you suddenly put a guarantee in there that the person was going to get their money back if the club didn't succeed, I think it would up the standards of the club as well. I think they'd
yeah.
suddenly go, guys, we're not refunding any of this money. Let's get out and deliver the service that we promised. So I think it's a good thing all round. It sets a standard for the club, but it also allows the member to go, actually, these guys are confident. I'll trust them.
I had a chat last week with a commercial gym about building a website for them and helping them with some marketing. And the reason they wanted to do this, I'm not going to name names because
Yeah.
it's just not cool. They had, I can't remember the numbers, but I think they had 300 members. 20% of those members were non-attendees.
Wow.
So that was 60 members that never go. And I was like, when was the last time you reached out to them? And they were like, we don't, we don't want to. We're just going to leave them. And I'm like, as an industry, that I feel that is wrong. I
Oh,
feel that if
hugely.
we are taking money of people and they are paying us, they 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 want accountability. And I think there's a lot of gyms out there. This might be controversial, it might be true. There are a lot of gyms out there who are happy to take monthly subscriptions from clients who don't ever come and use the facilities.
Oh, huge. And that's why we struggled so much in COVID as well. It
Yeah,
wasn't just the fact that COVID happened and the gym shut.
yeah,
A lot of the clubs, those guys that were regularly using the clubs, a lot of them carried on paying.
yeah,
Problem was we had 20, 25%, even higher at some clubs that people weren't using it. Suddenly we're like, well, I haven't used that in 6 months. Why would I support them during COVID? I'm cancelling. So
yeah.
20%, boom, just straight away. And it's like when I go into clubs to work on the retention and stuff, and you're going, guys, we cut because you want to put the automations in place and they start getting communications and things. Oh no, we can't contact our members. Why? Well, because we might lose some. And
Yeah,
just like that, that is frightening that you're going to tell me we've got, I don't know, 200 members out of a 1,000 member club that we're not allowed to contact
yeah.
because you're scared of losing them. Really, if you'd have had the communications all the way, one, hopefully they wouldn't have stopped using you because you'd encourage them back after 3 weeks or
Hmm.
whatever. Funnily enough, I was speaking to a guy this morning that's created a retention program that does all this rewards and comes and
Yeah,
reminds and stuff like that. Quite a clever program, but it's just like it all fits in. We make this promise at the start with all this marketing. You do a great job in terms of the website and everything else. All these great promises, and then obviously 3 months into the membership, none of that is being delivered, and it's quite scary.
when I first quote, so I worked in I had an e-commerce business straight out of university from well about 2000 to 2009, and I ended up selling it to a competitor. And as part of that, I had to sign a non-compete agreement. So
Right.
I'm sat on a bunch of cash from selling this business and no job or no career. And my background is sports science anyway, so I thought, right, I'm going to retrain as a personal trainer. I'm going to go and work in a commercial gym. So I started off working at LA Fitness in Manchester City Centre. Didn't quite like the environment, so I moved to after about 6 months, I moved to another commercial gym. I'm not going to tell you who they are. Uh, and one of the greatest tools that I had at my disposal was the lapsed member list. The manager at the time gave us access to this. I don't know if we could do that these days with GDPR. And I went
Done
through
it
this
at some
list of
point.
people who'd not been in like 3 months. Just picked the phone up and said, "Hey, it's Liam from this gym. We've noticed that you've not been in 3 months. We want to help you reach your health and fitness goals. So we're going to offer you 3 free personal training sessions." And that's one of the ways I grew my first personal training business from within that commercial gym was bringing people in for 3 personal training sessions. And they weren't really personal training sessions, they were consultations.
Yeah, yeah.
First one was a questionnaire, find out what the goals are. Second one was a like a movement assessment, and the third one was the debrief, which was the sales pitch. And no one, none of the other trainers were doing this. They were all just relying on the sales team to pass them leads. But the sales team were passing the leads to me because I used to reward them for it. No one else did. So, and then the reason why I ended up leaving this facility to go to actually rent space in a private studio because I was bringing in clients from outside of the gym who were finding me online through my website and through my Google profile, and they didn't want me bringing people in because they weren't members, but not saying that anyone that I brought in was becoming a member.
It always amazes me. It's
Yeah,
So some gym owners are really, really good at the way they see personal trainers, and
Yeah,
they involve more. I always think whether you're freelance or employed, they should be treated as a member of staff.
yeah,
Not necessarily in terms of uniform and stuff, but in terms of the field, you shouldn't treat them as an external service as such. You should treat them as an internal. I always think personal trainers should take on the inductions. So in a lot of clubs they don't do it, and they work their nuts off to sell on the gym floor. And the easiest way to do it is go to the gym owner. I'll help you out with the inductions. So I'll do the full induction, everything else, but it just puts me in front of that client. Now, whether they sign up PT at the moment that you do it, or whether they now that they know you, you're more likely to get them later on. But it introduces you to all those new members. When's the best
yeah,
time to sell PT? When they first join. Of course it is. They've got real goals they want to achieve. So it always amazes me how PTs don't get involved in that initial. I
yeah,
haven't got the time for that. Haven't you? Just like you guys are bonkers. You,
yeah,
you guys have got new, excited, whatever members. You want
yeah,
you want to be the first on there. Now, just coming back to your the stuff that you do, Liam,
yeah,
with the websites and the marketing. What would you
absolutely.
say is probably the sort of two or three things that if someone's obviously they want to do it themselves, they want to build their own website, they want to what's the sort of two or three things that you'd probably say that's a must in order for your website to not just be a billboard, but to actually generate your leads? What's probably the most important things they need to look at?
Don't build it yourself. You're not a web designer. For starts, I'm not even a web designer. We have a web design team that work for us that build websites. I'm not sitting here every day building websites. We have a team to do that because we're not experts in that. What we're into is the messaging and the marketing, so we can do that and then give it to our team to then build it. So first thing I say is, what are you doing building your own website if you're not a web designer? You wouldn't build your
Absolutely.
own house. Why build your own website? And we're in the business of trying to sell our expertise to people, whether that's through personal training or advising people to change their nutrition. And you don't want them to do that themselves. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's the first point. But if you're going to not listen to my advice and you want to
Or
do it
I
yourself,
guess if they hire someone and they want to make sure that they've got it right, maybe let's flip it that way. If they hire someone that's not you and they want to make sure that the right things are on their website, what are the key things they're looking at to sort of go? Is it the hero image at the top? Is it that main image? Is it the call to action? Is it
all of
the
the above, all of the above. It's language. Let's start with the three most important things. Uh, Headline. Your headline's got to your headline's got to explain, I reckon, three things: what you do, where you're based, and what result the person gets. If you can get those into your headline, then that will rank way, way more than, when I say rank, I mean convert, way more
yeah,
than
yeah.
what you might currently have. The worst headline, by the way, is "Welcome to my website" or "Welcome to Joe's gym." That's just a waste of what we call real estate. Uh, the second thing is have a really strong call to action. Tell people what they need to do next to move to the next step. Now, the next step is really important and it will depend on what it is you're doing. Are you trying to sell memberships off your website, or do you want to start conversations? I'm a big believer that a website is not designed to sell because that's your job
Yeah.
or your sales team's job. Your website is designed to start conversations.
Let's be honest. The amount of people that actually join from a website or directly from a Facebook
Yeah,
ad is relatively small. I mean, the only time it generally generates good leads and works really well in terms of direct sales is during a
yeah,
pre-sale. So that first moment that you're opening, it can have a massive effect because obviously you haven't got a product to sell as yet.
yeah,
You're still in pre. But I know, having done 40, 50 pre-sales now, that the moment you open your doors, that online sale almost drops. It just dies to almost nothing because people want to come and see the club. So, like you
Yeah,
say, start a conversation.
yeah. Start a conversation with someone. Allow them to come into your world, whether that's a phone call or a podcast. It's not a podcast, phone call or a Zoom call or an invite into your facility so that you can show them around. And by show them around, it's not showing them the equipment and showing them the shininess of the facility. It's asking them the right questions about their goals so that you can then sell them the solution to their goals because ultimately that's what they're after.
I think we spoke about this on
Yeah.
the unrecorded version about the tours and how people are doing it now. I think some of it's down to less staff, so they don't tour people off. But the amount of clubs that you find now that don't actually ask the questions of what your goals, what you're looking to achieve, what are your challenges. They literally do museum tours. Look at our amazing clubs. Look at that treadmill. Oh, look at the lighting. Oh, yeah, it's amazing. But can you help me lose weight? Can you help me run that marathon? Can you? And they just don't have those. They don't know the goals. They don't know the psyche behind that. So what has made them walk in today that they didn't make them walk in yesterday? Something's happened to make them go. Today's the day I'm going to do it. You need to find that information because that allows you to close.
Yeah. What brings you here today? It's a great question. It's a great question.
It amazes me. It does amaze me the amount of clubs that I visit that don't have a sales process. They almost they hire a member of staff, stick them on reception or Jimmy, and just go, yeah. If someone comes in, take their details and show them around. They like, and that's why your conversions are like 30% rather than 80, 90.
Yeah, yeah. And by asking the right questions, you can also probably save some time. You can get you can get straight to the I like to call it the meat and bones. You get straight to the meat and bones. What are you looking for? What do you want from a gym membership? Why us and why today?
I always tell people, especially, I mean, you work in a slightly different market than
Hmm.
myself, but in terms of when I'm sat with someone and we're talking sales, and I'm going, your club is no different to the one up the road. They have a treadmill, they have weights equipment, they have free weights, they probably have a studio. What makes you different? So if you just do a museum tour and show them the club, you're hoping that the environment wows them. But if you've got two amazing clubs, what's the difference? It's you as a person. So if you now start showing interest in what they want to achieve, I remember doing our training with when I was at Holmes Place, and we were animals when we were at Holmes Place, and we always believed that you didn't stand up to walk around the club until you pretty much 80% knew you'd sold that membership.
Yeah,
Because the tour would be almost, and we had an amazing club. I don't know if you've ever seen it. The what is now Virgin Nottingham. It's in an old Grade Two listed train station, 60,000 square foot. So you can imagine all original bare brick walls, stainless steel swimming pools, four studios. You know what I mean? It was an amazing club. So technically, for a lot of people, it probably would have sold it on its own. It just was an
yeah,
incredible looking club. But we sat them in the bar, we talked goals, and even to the point where they erected a sort of wall where the sales tours happened, so they couldn't really see the club. So they had to engage with you with the questions first. Because what we tended to find is people would come in and they spend all their time just looking at this amazing because it was all open. So you sat in the bar, really low glass sort of
yeah,
barrier, and then you could see the whole gym. And they just spent the whole time looking. So we had to change it to go, right, we need to focus on goals here, guys.
yeah,
We charge it. It wasn't expensive. It was 49 quid a month, I think it was. But the joining
yeah,
fee was 250 quid. So
yeah,
it was a big upfront, and so you needed their attention. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to help you. This is and we learned to do that. But for some reason, the last sort of 5, 10 years, that asking questions, and I don't know whether it's because of less staff in the clubs. I don't know whether it's we've got more 24 hour, whatever it is, or the budgets have come in and changed. I don't know, but every club I go to, I have to redo the whole training and change how they deliver their tours because it's museum tours don't sell.
I was doing that. I would have them sat in let's call it a success corner with before and after pictures on the walls, and maybe even a little magazine of case studies sat on the desk, so that get them surrounded by success before they've even started, and
Yeah,
then
exactly.
ask the right questions.
It's But it's that questions that's the important thing, and you're sort of doing that on your website in a way as well, because you sort of,
Mm.
in a way, you're answering those questions, so they're hitting those hot spots. Do you know what I mean? And I can imagine you do a lot of that with the transformation stuff because you're almost going, "Is this you? We can
Yeah,
help you."
yeah,
I
absolutely,
can imagine you do a
absolutely.
lot of that. You're looking to lose weight. Da, 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 da. Is this you? Come and join. This is what we can achieve. Um, so you're not doing any different, but we do all that great stuff on the website. Then walk them in and just walk them around the club. You're like going, really? Especially in small group training where you're charging £200, it should be all about the goals, and especially when those clubs aren't massive. Probably take you 2 minutes to walk around most of the club. You probably stand in one spot and see the whole club for a lot of those small group training.
Hmm.
It's got to be all about the questions, all about the questions. And the great thing is, and it amazes me, most of these guys are ex PTs. So they're used
Yeah,
to asking those questions. And suddenly
yeah.
they become a gym owner and they're supposed to be selling memberships. They forget about all those the great stuff that they were doing before until they get them signed up and then they're back into PT mode and they start asking all those questions again. You're like,
Yeah.
start it there. The moment they come in the door, you've got everything that you need.
Agreed. Yeah, 100%.
It's just crazy. Now, in terms of what you do and how you work with clubs, I always like to give people an opportunity to push their business. I mean, obviously, you guys are working with 200 clubs, so you're doing an amazing job. I guess what sort of clubs do you like to work with? What's the and how do you work with them? Do you build the website automations? What's the package? I guess is
What's the process? So the first thing that we would do is an onboarding call where we will do a deep dive into their business. Well, we'll ask them about the types of clients that they want to work with, the packages that they have, uh, all of that, what results the clients want, because that comes back to messaging. You can have a great website that looks amazing and is designed well, but if the messaging isn't right on there, then no one is really going to get what you do. So first step on that is deep dive into the business, get the information, and then we'll go and start putting that together. We tend to do most of the content for our clients these days, uh, just because we've done so many of them and we know what works. And
I guess you
then
can control it as well, can't you? You're not getting
yeah,
dodgy videos. You're not getting dodgy. You literally go right. This is what you want. We'll get what we need.
it's funny actually because we often get a little bit of pushback on the content, and
All
it
right.
might be because we're trying to maybe get them to niche a little bit more than they're comfortable with sometimes, and they think they're going to miss out. This is more for sort of semi-private gyms, and commercial gyms is an easy one
Yeah, yeah.
because they're a little bit more generic. But for the small group guys who might, the question we ask is, who do you currently work with? And you find the answer's nearly always the same. It's 80% of their clients is uh, 35 to 45-year-old ladies who want to lose weight. And you go on their website and it's all blacks and reds and industrial tires and heavy kettlebells and heavy weights. It's like your current language isn't talking to that market.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's look at changing the language. And then when we dig in a little bit deeper, what we find is the female segment is coming towards them because of their marketing, but the guys that come in are because of referrals.
Gotcha.
So they bring if you bring the right ladies into your environment, especially if you're doing small group personal training, they're going to recommend their brothers and husbands and boyfriends and work colleagues and friends, and you're going to end up with a facility that has the culture that you want to try and foster. But it all starts with asking the right questions and figuring out who you want to bring into your facility.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, just before you go, obviously, AI is massive at the moment, and
Yeah.
you guys factor that into how you build these sites. the automations? How are you guys using that very much at the moment, or is it not so
Yeah,
much?
no, we do. We absolutely do. Uh, let's talk about how not to use it. You could go onto AI and type in, write me some website copy for a website homepage, and it's going to give you something really generic. And you could probably use it. You might get some results. But how we use it is by asking the right questions.
Yeah.
It's great for content ideas. It's not quite there yet in my humble opinion for writing everything for you, but it's good for ideas. It's good for repurposing things. So if we take a step back to the case study stuff we were talking about, if you pull the transcript from one of your case study videos, you feed it into the AI, and you can get the AI to then repurpose it. And we have one of these that we give to our clients. We call it a testimonial GPT. We take a case study, and then that will turn that case study testimonial into a blog post, an email, a social media post, a website snippet, a Google My Business snippet. And it's about cutting down the amount of work that you have to do, but not necessarily just blindly doing it for you. So yes, we
I
use
think the thing
AI. Yeah,
is giving it enough information that it can take your idea and write it how you want it. Um, like some of the articles I produce, the
yeah,
main bulk, I'll write the article. Now I'm slightly dyslexic, so ChatGPT is quite good for me
yeah,
in putting it into the right grammar. But I'll pretty much write that whole article, and then I'll let the AI just formulate it into a bit more
yeah,
of a readable a readable
yeah,
article.
yeah.
And I think it's brilliant for that sort of stuff. And like you say, repurposing. And so there's definitely a use for it. I think you can still see where people are either new to it or don't use it properly. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't realise that ChatGPT puts the long dash into things. So you
Would
see the
you
long dash and you go,
would you like to see something really cool?
go
Can we
on.
screen share?
Yeah, give me
Uh,
two
let,
seconds.
let, let me just
Go
go let
ahead.
me just go on, and I'll just make sure that I haven't got any client stuff up that okay. So we've built a GPT. A GPT is uh it's like an AI agent. We've got lots of them. One of them is an email rewriter. Can I share my screen, please?
Yeah, you can do. Just click share.
Right.
It should have permission.
So let me bring the annotations out. Can we bring the annotations out? Yeah, you should be able to see this. So what we have here is what we call custom GPTs. And the one that we're on at the minute is our email rewriter. I'll take you through the process. Now, there's a lot of programming has gone into this. Let's talk about a challenge. I'm gonna get you to write this, by the way, and it's gonna write it in my style, in my voice for my business, and I'll show you how quickly it does that. And this is so powerful, by the way. Right, give me a subject, Ryan.
Any subject.
Any subject that we can talk about related to health and
Weight
fitness.
loss.
Weight loss. Okay, we're gonna write an email about weight loss. What about it? And how was weight loss related to weight loss for who?
Weight loss for middle aged women who want to get back in shape.
Okay, there's a prompt. Weight loss for middle-aged women who want to get back in shape, and why it's important to get that message across on your website. All right, there's the subject line. Want you to feel like me again. Here's a silent conversation happening every day in gyms and studios just like yours. A woman in her 40s or 50s walks in. She's not there to smash personal bests or train for a bikini competition. She's there because she doesn't feel like herself anymore. She's gained weight, she's lost energy, and she doesn't recognize the woman in the mirror. Here's the kicker. If your website isn't talking directly to her, you're losing leads because she's scrolling past it, clicking off, and heading to your competition who does get her. Why does this matter? Middle-aged women are one of the most motivated, committed, and profitable client groups in the fitness industry. They're ready to invest in themselves, their health, and in a coach who gets what they're doing, but they need to feel seen before they even step foot in your studio. And we could go through this. This is all written in
Yeah.
my language. And then there's the call to action. PS, want to talk about your website. Your studio's website is your gym's 24/7 lead collector. Schedule a discovery call today, and let's make sure your website is working as hard as you are.
Really good, isn't it?
That's taken me five
2
seconds,
seconds.
and it's in my language because I've given it 5 years worth of emails that I've written to train it, so
Yeah,
it
yeah.
knows to write in my voice, but it can do it like that. So back to your original question: do we use AI? Yes, we do, but not how most people think it should be used.
I I love the fact that you can create those sorts of things. And I think if
Hmm.
people take, it's one of those things. Sometimes you need to take a step back from your business. Either hire people like yourself who've got all
Yeah,
the tools to do
yeah,
it, or take a step back and learn how to use AI because it's not going
yeah.
away. And
It's not.
it can make your job so much easier. I mean, I remember working for Marriott and having to write those emails and sit there and you're sort of going, okay, the language, and you're having to go, right, what are the touch points? What are the call to action? And you're consciously thinking about it. Now all you do is you put in, I mean, you put in one sentence,
Yeah,
bang, you've got a perfect email that you can send to your clients, job done. And I think that's the skill with this. It isn't about going right. AI is taking over. It's going okay. How can I use AI to maximize my business? I
leverage.
like the
Yeah.
chatbots that are around on some of the websites, some of the landing pages, so that the lead comes in. I like some of them. Some of them are amazing. I mean, there's one in Australia I was talking to the other day that it can they're just double testing it now, but the it can actually speak as you. So you record a 3 to 5 minute
Yeah,
audio,
yeah,
and it can phone the client up and speak as if it's you. And the guy showed me the recordings, and it's just you wouldn't know. You
yeah.
literally wouldn't know you weren't talking to a real person.
It's
I was
so
gobsmacked. You know.
it's so clever. Yeah, so there is a an AI tool called 11 Labs that
Oh
can
yeah,
that can talk in your voice. Uh, just talking about chatbots very quickly. We have we have a social media chatbot that will reply to people, and the goal of the chatbot is to book someone in for a discovery call.
yeah,
So they'll have the conversation, they'll ask the questions, and then they'll send the discovery call link. Sometimes it'll get the conversation will get started by another chatbot. So other people are using chatbots to reach out to us to try and sell us their services. And the goal of this other chatbot must be to like get someone to book in for a call. So we have two chatbots trying to compete each other to
that's
get them booked
brilliant.
into a call. And it's like, no, you book in for a call. This is the only way you can move forward. Oh, well, here's my call booking link. If you want to speak to us, book in for a call. And then before I switched it off, it must have done it about 15 times.
Wow. Have you ever seen that video where they've got two chatbots talking to each other? They realize that somehow the AI realizes it's speaking to another chatbot and it changes the language.
Yeah.
It's frightening. Actually, I can't remember what systems. It was Google and something else,
Hmm.
but they literally changed the language to a
Hmm.
language that we can't understand. As a human beings, the
Yeah.
testers didn't know what they were talking, and they were
Yeah.
like, "That's a little bit worrying." That one. I
Yeah.
was watching it, and these things it just turns into like a noise in the end. And you're just like, "Whoa, that's a bit funny." I bet that was funny to watch, wasn't it? These two chatbots talking to each other and trying to book each other in.
Yeah.
But I watched one. I can't remember who it was. It was the guy was on stage and they were showing it how it booked a beauty appointment for this person. So basically, it was this person rang up, said the PA of such and such. Can we book and this thing was incredible. Just took the whole thing, booked it in the CRM system,
Mm.
job done. And it's things like that that can change the game massively. Obviously, with the clients I work with, I push to get it so people can book themselves in for the tour and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I can imagine that's the sort of stuff that you do. But yeah, AI is fascinating. I just think we need to start training our kids on it a little bit more. So where when they
yeah.
get into work, they're experts and they're not like us trying to backtrack and learn it in retrospect rather than. It's
I
a lot
think,
harder when you're in your 50 or well, nearly 50, to learn it. If you've learned it from the age of 10 or 11.
yeah, I think my 8-year-old plays Fortnite, and he's already talking about bots and AIs, and he knows when to recognize things. So I think kids are being brought up on this probably the same way we got brought up on the internet.
Well, I didn't even get brought up. I'm obviously clearly older than you.
Yeah.
Internet didn't arrive till I left uni. I didn't even have
Mm.
internet at university. So my son can't understand it because obviously he's got all the chat GPTs and everything else now as at uni. I think my generation was the last generation to know the before the internet and the after. So it is interesting. I love it to see. But you see, 3-year-olds now know how to work a bloody phone. And can you imagine us? I mean, we struggle to work a TV, let alone and the video
Yeah.
recorder, let alone
Yeah.
knowing how to use a phone. But on that note, we'll leave it there. Obviously, always flies by talking to you, Liam. And I really appreciate you coming back on after I forgot to press record last time round.
And
Now,
you forgot to turn up for the last one. Can we talk about that
yeah,
one?
yeah. In terms of getting in touch with him, if anybody does want websites that work, they want to look at their automation, want to look at their sales and marketing and drive that forward. Give Liam a shout. These guys really are the experts in terms of what they do. Like I say, I see a lot of websites out there, and even help clients sometimes, but nowhere near what you guys do as a business. So all the details will be the front, the end, middle, whatever of the podcast. Also, you can't miss Liam on LinkedIn, so just drop him a note and cost you nothing to have a conversation with Liam. Have a conversation, see if he can help. If you don't think he can, fine, but I guarantee he will. So to get in touch. But really appreciate your time, Liam, and we will catch up soon, no doubt.
No problem. Thanks for having me.